Some people claim that the whole idea of a divine Messiah is just some Christian spin, and that the Jews never actually saw it that way. But is that really true? Let's dive into the Old Testament with three heavyweights, Daniel, Isaiah, and Zechariah, to see if the Messiah's divinity was always on the agenda. First up, Daniel 7:13-14 introduces us to the Son of Man. It says, "I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man. And he came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him. And to him was given dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom one that shall not be destroyed." So, we have two figures here, the Ancient of Days, aka God, and the Son of Man. Now, here's the kicker. Thrones, yes plural, are set up in verse 9, but only one of those thrones is filled, until the Son of Man walks in. He takes a seat, claiming divine authority. And check this out. The same eternal dominion that's given to God in Daniel 6:26 is handed to the Son of Man in Daniel 7. Same language, same authority. But there's actually more. The Son of Man rides on the clouds. In the Old Testament, cloud riding is uniquely divine. Isaiah 19:1 has Yahweh riding a cloud to judge Egypt. Deuteronomy 33:26 calls him the God who rides across the heavens. And in Psalm 68:33 and 103, he commands the heavens, making clouds his chariot. When Daniel describes the Son of Man riding the clouds, he's directly linking this figure to Yahweh's authority, showing him as divine, yet distinct from God himself. Next up, let's take a look at Isaiah's epic suffering servant in Isaiah 53. If you've ever read it, it's hard to deny that this sounds an awful lot like Jesus, written 700 years before he even shows up. But what's even more interesting is how this servant is described with terms that go way beyond human. First, Isaiah 52:13 describes the servant as being high and lifted up, language reserved exclusively for Yahweh in Isaiah. Isaiah says the very same thing about God when he sees him in a vision at the beginning of the book. And in Isaiah 2:11-17, he makes it pretty clear. Only Yahweh gets this kind of exaltation. So if this servant is high and lifted up, then we're talking about more than just a man. This is a divine figure here. Next, Isaiah 53:11-12 describes the servant justifying many and interceding for sinners. Yet Isaiah 45:24-25 tells us that Israel will only be justified in Yahweh. And in Isaiah 59:16, he emphasizes that no one could intercede for humanity, so Yahweh did it himself. Yet in Isaiah 53, this servant is doing exactly that. How? Because the servant is Yahweh himself in the flesh, interceding for his people. And it ties together further in Isaiah 9:11, where the Messiah is called Mighty God and Everlasting Father, names Isaiah reserves only for Yahweh. So for Isaiah, this suffering servant is God himself.